Hello and welcome to the Mix 6 podcast as part of The Mix, the UK's leading digital support service for young people. I'm Laura and I'm joined today by Nike athlete Isabelle Kyson. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi.
Thank you so much for joining us. Let's take it all back to where it all began. Where did the passion for sport start, do you think?
I think I always liked running. When I was probably 5 years old at the time. My dad used to go on like these 5k runs around like Hackney in London because that's where I lived at the time. And I was like, Dad, take me along. So I'd always like go with him. Probably end up running too far, forgetting that I'd have to run there and run back.
Oh.
So I'd run a little bit too far. And then I'd be like, Dad, I'm tired. He's like, well, we've got to run back home now. I was like, no. And so I'm kind of like crying whilst jogging along. But it's just such a cool memory. And I just remember like being so like excited to go on these runs because I thought it was such a cool like thing to do. And I was like, oh, I'm running with like adults and I'm running in the streets. Like this feels rebellious for some reason. I don't know why. Little me thought it was rebellious, but that was when I sort of realized I liked running. I always liked being competitive, I think. Like even when I was in like prep school and stuff, like the boys would be like, oh yeah, let's race each other. I'm like, I want to race too. And they'd be like, yeah, but like you're a girl, like we can't, just go play with the girls and stuff, like we're gonna do like little races. I'm like, no, race me, and I'd always win because obviously at that age,
yes,
like it's very very equal. And I was like, race me and you'll see, race me, and then they all raced me and they were like, oh no, Izzy's clearly faster than us, so I guess we'll back down now.
I love
but that was like one of the moments I was like, I like racing, like I like the competitiveness. There's a very small bit of competitiveness, but I guess for me that was the first moment I like competing.
So there was like a fire in your belly from pretty early age.
Yeah.
And it sounds like sort of proving the boys wrong.
Yeah.
That was satisfying for you. And that is a challenge, obviously, for a lot of girls who are in sport, like trying to really make their mark, I think, and prove that women's sport is important. Would you say that there are challenges that you face as a woman in sport, even growing up and being a lot past that age?
I definitely think so. I think a lot of them for me are mainly social stuff. So unfortunately not really unfortunately, I love my friends, but a lot of them don't do sports. I mean, if they do, they don't do it to a level where they need to sort of organise their life around. Like they might just do once a week a bit of hockey or something. Yeah. But because there's that big difference in our lives where I'm obviously taking sports quite seriously and they have their other interests that aren't the same as mine, that it can sometimes get a bit tricky to like navigate social like meetups and everything, because they'll say, oh, why don't we go out on Friday night and go to the pub, because some of them are turning 18 now, and I'm like, I've got a training session at 7:00 in the morning on Saturday. I don't know if I can, not that I'd be like buying drinks anyway, but I'd just come there for like the meal and everything, just chat with them and everything, but I just wouldn't be able to hang out with them. So I think the sacrifices there can be a bit tricky, but then that kind of just comes as you get older, that you get used to it and you learn to prioritize things. I think that's just a skill you develop. But I've also faced a lot of like biological issues around puberty, and I think that puberty is a really big barrier that I faced in my like my journey through sports. So I've experienced a lot of plateauing in my performances, which has then had a really big knock-on effect on me mentally. Especially as like a kid, when you're 11 years old, you come second in nationals, you're like, oh, I'm flying. The coaches are just saying, oh, like you're going to make it to the Olympics, like you're amazing, you're going to win nationals next year and stuff, and just constantly feeding you like with these great ideas and great ambitions. But then when you finally hit a stage where your performances aren't improving anymore, you're training the same, you're training as hard as you've ever done before, but your times are getting slower. You're just like, what is happening? And that moment is just really difficult to deal with, because you've always had this idea pumped into you that you're the best, you're going to win everything. And I think that was one of the big like moments for me that I really struggled with.
That sounds really difficult. I think also, by the sounds of it, no one prepared you for how puberty would impact your times, and obviously if something's going like that, you think it's going to keep going up. So is there anything you would want to say to maybe young girls who are going through puberty to reassure them that that does happen?
So I was on a panel event with Katrina Johnson-Thompson.
Wow, that's cool.
That is amazing. But one of the pieces of advice that she said at that panel event, which it stuck with me, was that to remember that you're all on your own biological timeline, and progress is different for everyone, and you just can't compare your progress to anyone else. So everything's very individual, and you can only take stuff in your own stride. Like you can't compare yourself to others because of it.
Absolutely. I think that's so true, and I think they say the comparison is the thief of joy, and I think it's so true, because people at different times are going through puberty, and you might see people growing up quicker than you, or that was actually another one of my questions was, do you feel like you've somewhat grown up quicker than your peers because you've been thrown into this adult world where you're training with Keely Hodgkinson, you're doing all these incredible things? Do you think you've had to grow up quicker because of that?
I don't really know, to be honest, because I feel like I've always been able to like handle being with like older people, even if they're not that old, like just people older than me. It feels weird saying older people because they're only in their 20s and stuff. Like Keely's still like early 20s.
Is she?
Yeah, she's still young.
I think she's younger than me.
Maybe.
Is she 22?
Ooh, I want to say 22.
That's
or
incredible.
21. I know she's young. Like I thought that maybe she was a bit older, especially for like the success that she's had. I would have thought maybe like mid 20s, because that's normally when a lot of athletes, you know, get the Olympic medals and stuff. But I think she's quite young. Like
wow.
Very
when you
20s.
first met her, was that a pretty crazy moment, or was it just like, hi Keely, like how are you?
It was crazy, like how normal she was. That sounds really bad. I just know how bad that sounds to say, but when you see people on TV and you see these like ultra mega successful people, you're just like, wow, they're just on another level, like they're on another planet. But then when I met her at the training camp thing, I was like, damn, she is a normal person. Like she came down in her sweats, just out the shower, hair slightly wet, just holding a pack of gummies, and she's like, do you want some? I was like, yeah, I'll take some gummies. But I was just like, I completely forgot that she was a normal person as well. And I think because you see all these superstars on TV, you don't see them as regular people, but I think it's important to remember that they are just normal human beings as well.
Yeah, I was literally saying that earlier. I think that people have this crazy fangirling, fanboy moment when they meet some people, and then it's important to just take a minute and be like, actually, you know, I could learn a lot from you, but, you know, you're just a human. And I guess you must have to take that into, like with the panel event with Katrina Johnson-Thompson, like, I guess it's reminding yourself that they're just human.
Yeah,
too.
It literally is just that. It stops you being like intimidated, because sometimes you're like, oh, they're judging me and everything, but I'm like, they're just a human being too. They're probably nervous like you. They're probably trying to remember what they want to say like you are as well. So it's, you kind of just gotta remember they're normal too. They're not just crazy people.
It must be so weird though, like almost you're living two lives where you're doing these incredible things. You're like Camp Vomero, like all these crazy things, and then you're going to school, you're studying for your A-levels. Do you feel somewhat that you are living these two sort of separate lives? I
do feel like that. I sometimes feel like an undercover agent sometimes, because a lot of my friends, I don't really tell them much about what I do, like outside of school and like in this sort of thing, like with Nike, panel events, podcasts, and all of those kind of things. They just kind of know me as the Nike girl that does cool stuff outside of school. Like they don't really know any like specifics. But yeah, it does feel quite strange, because I'm like, I could have like an epic thing on the weekend. Like I just came back from Hawaii, like of the Camp Vomero thing, and I come back to school on a Monday and like, oh, where have you been? I'm like, in Hawaii with Nike. And they're like, what? You didn't tell us? I'm like, well, I don't know. Like it feels kind of boastful sometimes if I then tell people. So I'm afraid that if I say that, oh yeah, I'm going to Hawaii with Nike, they're going to be like, oh, well, cool. And sometimes people will take it the wrong way and be like, well, why are you just boasting? Like, of course we're going to be at school. Like, why are you like trying to rub it in our faces? So sometimes I just try and like just hold back a bit. Like if they're interested, let them be interested and I'll tell them. But I won't necessarily just go and tell them, because I don't want to come across as like a bit boastful. Yeah,
I mean, it's incredible what you're doing. And it is unusual to be 17 studying for your A-levels. I know you're planning to go off to uni, is that right?
Yeah.
That's part of your plan. It must be trying to navigate that with all the things you're doing with Nike and then the training. Do you ever just think, God, I need a moment, like it's all too much?
Yeah. Well, I'm one of those people that's kind of, they just need that constant buzz. They need something going. Otherwise I kind of just turn into a bit of like a sack of potatoes, and then I'm just sat down on the couch, just like,
So you need the stimulation.
Yeah, I need the stimulation. I'd say I'm a bit of like a workaholic as well when it kind of comes to school. Like I kind of like studying and revising. I don't know if it's just because I enjoy the subjects that I'm doing, which I think is really important, by the way. If you're choosing A-levels, choose something that you enjoy, because it makes studying so much easier. But I actually enjoy studying for them, and I like exploring my subjects further than just like the A-level scope, because it is also just a passion and a bit of hobby of mine. So I do think I work a lot on that.
I think I absolutely agree. I did English at uni, and I know
Can't write essays.
I
can't write essays to save my life.
Really? Because was it quantum physics you were thinking of doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was surprised you remembered that.
Well,
I was like,
I've done my research. But surely there's essays in that. Is it not?
Yeah, there are. So it's kind of like a different way of writing in a way. If scientific writing is very much like, here's a fact, let me explain it, and that kind of thing, rather than not storytelling, but it's a different style of writing, I'd say. But yeah, there will be a lot of essays, especially in uni, like dissertations and everything. But
suddenly
it's manageable, I think.
Balancing things will get a whole lot harder, I imagine.
Harder, yeah.
Because uni's such a step up above A levels. But do you hope to continue with the training and all that just as much when you go to uni?
Yeah, I definitely want to continue doing track for as long as I can.
Yeah.
Especially, I think I definitely want to do it competitively in uni. After uni, I guess we'll see, because obviously then jobs and stuff, that plays a big part. So I'm not too sure about that yet. But for uni, definitely still doing athletics.
And I guess also it's quite nice if you are working really hard, as you say, with your A levels, having that time out. Do you find that training, although it's exhausting and very physically draining, does it give you that kind of space out of everything? It's sort of like a meditation, or?
Yeah, although it's very taxing and tiring on the body, it's very mentally just calming, and it gives you like a space to just chill out mentally. Like, there's not much mental like stimulation really needed. Like throughout the whole day, you've got a whole day of school, you're sat in chairs all cramped up, your brain's working really hard, and you finally get to track, you find your body working really hard and your mind gets to switch off for a bit. So it's a nice way to wind down from the day of school and stuff.
Yeah, and also as a teenage girl, like, it's tough. You've got hormones flying around your body. I know for me anyway, probably from age 13 I could feel things changing, and you just have no idea what's going on. And I think keeping up that exercise is so important. Like, I'm sure you'd agree. I think a recent study said that 43% of girls drop out of school after primary school. Sorry, drop out of school. 43% of girls drop out of sport after primary school, which is a huge statistic. Nothing like that with boys. I'm curious to know what you think the reasons behind that is and why it's so different to the boys.
I think it's definitely a lack of education about like the effects of puberty on sports. So we get taught loads about the biological effects, saying you're gonna get your period, you're gonna get boobs and a bum, like, and stuff, and you're gonna get a bit hairy and stuff, and you might get a bit emotional, and you might get taught a little bit in well-being, saying, oh, you might get cramps. Use a hot water bottle. This is what a tampon is. This is what a pad. But you don't get taught how it's going to affect you in sports, and I think that's quite a big shock for girls. Especially for girls who are possibly like exceeding in sports at that age. When they finally go for that stage, you feel heavy, you feel slower, and suddenly sports isn't enjoyable because you're relearning how to run. Like, physically, your body is changing so much, especially with your hips widening. You have to literally physically relearn how to run. So any sports that is running based just automatically feels so much worse.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of other stuff as well, like with social pressures, especially going through the teenage years, that a lot of girls drop out of sports. And I think it's just really being able to understand what the effects of puberty have on your sporting journey, and just understanding that. Because then if you understand it, you know it's coming, you're prepared for it, and then you can carry on and work through that, and then eventually carry on doing sports in your, like, when you're a woman. But I think a lot of girls drop out of sports because they aren't educated on that fact. And a lot of girls think that they can't do sports on their period, which again is an educational issue, that they're not being taught like the things about their body. Like, they haven't got a good enough body literacy.
100%. How did you deal with those moments then when, say, you were at a session and it was just frustrating, you feel like things had changed?
Yeah.
What were the techniques you used to deal with that?
Honestly, I kind of just went with the flow. Like, if I was struggling with something, I'd just have to do a quick Google search or something. So I had this really big weight gain after my first period when I was 13. So I literally gained 6 kilos in the space of 6 weeks. Like,
really?
And I didn't grow much in height either. So I was probably like only grew like 1 inch, but in that time I'd gained 6 kilograms. And obviously going through that makes you feel so sluggish and so slow. And because of that, my performances started going backwards. And I was still training like really hard, and I was still training like 4 times a week. I just couldn't understand why I was getting slow. Like, why wasn't I getting better? Then I did a bit of like a Google search, a bit of like some just, trying to search around this kind of stuff. And it said that teenage girls have this rapid weight gain, and then they grow taller, but it's for them to be able to develop into a woman's body. So they need that extra weight, that extra fat to be able to have that bodily change. And I didn't know that. I'm like, why have we not been taught this in school? Like, I genuinely just thought I got fat and slow. Like, as like a 13-year-old girl, I was like, athletics is done for me now because I've just gained a lot of weight and I'm getting slower. But then it gradually gets better, but you don't get told that at school. So I think it becomes a very big shock to a lot of girls, and because of that, they drop out, especially if they don't have a good support network.
Absolutely, especially if you're at that high level that you were at, where you're hoping, you know, to make this a career and it's such a huge part of your identity. To have that sort of somewhat ripped away so quickly must be so difficult.
Yeah.
Who was it who you turned to in those moments?
Definitely my dad. Like, a lot of people are like, what, you talk to your dad about, like, your period and stuff? I'm like, yeah, I mean, he's a pretty chill guy. Like, he's not gonna be like, ugh, periods. Like, he's got a wife, he got 3 kids. I mean, like, I think he knows quite a lot about, like, you know, women's bodies and stuff. Like, I would talk to my mum, but my dad's the one that tends to be there with me at the track, so she normally deals with my brother's hockey events and everything, but my dad's normally the one who takes me to the track, so I just ended up talking to him a lot more about that stuff. But yeah, we kind of found out as we went through it. So there was this one time I was at a track competition, and I'd never had cramps before, and I was like, oh my god, like what is happening right now? Like, I am in absolute agony. And I was doing my warm-up, and I was like, Dad, I don't think I can run. And he was like, oh, well, maybe you can do. It's like quite an important race. Like, it's like Essex Championships, like it's county level, like it's quite important. And I was like, yeah, but it really hurts. And he was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go ask a sporty mum. So he went up to a sporty mum and was like, my daughter's like saying she's got like pain like down here, like what do I do? What is this? She's like, oh, she just got cramps, like it's fine, like she can still run. Like, in fact, doing sports and running will actually help like make the cramps a lot better. And the fact that I didn't know that at the age of 13 is just like, what? Like, so many girls are getting their periods like even earlier now, and they're not getting taught this. And I'm like, well, it's really bad. Like, I could have just not raced at all and then missed out on getting a gold medal. Like, that's a big thing I could have missed out on just because I didn't know how to deal with cramps. I didn't even know what they were. Like, I think that's showing a really big issue in like the education system around puberty and like periods and everything.
Absolutely, I completely agree. And even, I guess I was a little bit before you when I was going through all of that, and even less will be taught about it. And there are things now like even discharge, say, no one got taught about that. Everyone freaked out. What is that? Like, there needs to be a change. And I know that, are you doing some work in changing the education system? How is that? How's that going?
It's been slow, but I think I'm sort of getting somewhere a little bit. So I started off talking to the Conservative education minister at the time, and she said that, oh yeah, well, I'll let you talk to the education people and everything, and we'll talk to one of the representatives from PSHE, like the wellbeing classes, and one person from the PE section, and I'll send my right-hand woman in just to, you know, oversee the meeting. And we were just chatting, and I was like telling them, like, look, we need to, you know, make a change to this. We need to educate teenage girls about their own bodies. And they were like, oh yeah, you found a root cause. This is great. Go talk to the Association for PE. So I ended up working with them. I did a panel event at the National Development Day, which was pretty cool because for once I was lecturing teachers and teachers weren't lecturing me, it was a pretty cool twist on that. But that was really great. And then we made a toolkit, basically it's going to be sent out to teachers. I think it's going to reach, I think it's like 100,000 children in the country.
Wow.
But it's pretty good. It's basically teaching teachers about the effects of puberty of teenage girls in sports, saying, look, if they're, you know, saying that they've got period cramps, this is what we can say to help support them. And it's basically just a leaflet to help them make the environment more inclusive and everything for them. So that's going to be sent out soon, and that was pretty cool. And then from there, I was basically trying to make a change to the actual education system. I didn't know if it was going to be in the P section or the PSHE curriculum, but I knew there needs to be a change. So I was talking to my MP about it, and he said, I'll give you my support, but I'm just an MP, like I'm not one of the people who works with the education system. So I made a petition on change.org. That didn't really do anything because I only got like, I think 3,000 signatures, which isn't really enough to go anywhere. So I thought I'd write an actual letter direct to Bridget Phillipson, who is now the new education secretary. So yeah, I've just been trying to chip away at that. They have come out with a new revision for the education system, and I checked it and it didn't have anything about it.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm like, what about this? Like, I have had direct correspondence with you. I've literally written you a handwritten letter and you've replied back and everything saying that, oh yeah, this is really important, we should really include this. I'm like, it is not in there.
I do just want to say,
it's just annoying.
Yeah.
It's
but you are incredible. What you are doing is incredible, and I don't see other people doing it. And I think, especially because you're 17, you know, you're literally going through school right now. You're such an inspiration to so many people. Honestly, like, you should be so proud of yourself, what you're doing. And I think it's so important. And especially because you've gone through it, it's a first-hand experience. You can speak and be like, look, this is what's happening. Like, it's so important. And if we can change that statistic and get more girls to stay in sport, I think it's just so important. So I wanted to talk a little bit about social media, because you've got a following, and that means that you do have an influence, and obviously you're using your influence for good. But there will be, as with anyone on social media, times when it's not quite so positive. Have you experienced hate or trolling or even just negativity?
Yeah, so I haven't really faced much negativity per se, but I've had a lot of strange comments from strange men. And that is something that really, really bugs me, especially like when I first started the account at like 14, 13 years old. I'm like, really? Like, you're going to be sending this to a minor? Like, what is going through your head?
Yeah.
Like, there was one instance where one man sent something and he was stupid enough to have a link to his like actual company in his bio. So we sent an email to the company and sent a screenshot of what he had said and was like, you need to sort this out. And they came back saying, we'll take professional actions, blah, blah, blah. And I'm hoping he got fired, because that was not appropriate to be sending to like a 14-year-old girl. But it's affected a lot of my friends as well. Like, a lot of my friends who are in athletics, they have an Instagram account, they have a public one, they just often get really weird comments from some really strange guys. Like, obviously that's not all the guys, but when you do get those comments, it's just like, what is wrong with you?
It's so disappointing.
It's just really disappointing. Like, I've just made this video of me like doing a training session, like, and that's what you're commenting? Like, really? So I think that that's something that I've experienced that I'm just like, it just annoys me. Like, it just makes me angry and just annoys the hell out of me. But like with the social media thing, a lot of people in my everybody in my school kind of knows who I am because of it, and it's a lot of the neighbouring schools as well know about it. So I'll sometimes go somewhere and they're like, oh, you're the Nike girl. I'm like, yeah. And it's like, oh, so you just do running and stuff? I'm like, yeah, I also do other stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, but you're just an athlete. I'm like, no, I do other things. Like, oh, well, okay, cool, you're an athlete, bye. I'm like, right. Okay, they just only ever see me as like the Nike girl. Like, that's all they really think of me. And I'm like, well, I'm so much more. Like, I like watching anime, I like listening to rock music, I like going for walks and everything, I like hanging out with my friends. I'm like, there's also a lot more to me. So a lot of people in my school just kind of only see me as this very surface level, oh, Nike girl who does running. So it's sometimes a little bit annoying when people just only see that, and even when you try and like, you know, drop in like your other hobbies, that's all they see, and I'm just like, oh, okay, well, guess that's all you're gonna see of me.
It's a part of your identity, but not all of it.
Yeah.
And I think that's important, like, especially online when you're posting videos of you training, it's quite easy to be like, that's 2D, like, she's a 2D person, but actually there's so much more to you. And I suppose it's your friends, your family, the people who are close to you that really know you, and the people online don't fully know who you are.
Definitely.
Do you find that sometimes you want to just take a step back, get off Instagram, whatever it is, and just take time in the real world? Is that important?
Yeah, so recently, actually this season, I've practically just stopped posting for like a lot of the summer. That was mainly because this summer had been really rough with athletics. Like, there was a lot of things just going wrong, and I just didn't sorry,
don't worry.
and I just didn't have the motivation to post anything, and also I didn't really think that there was much to post about. So I do sometimes just go through periods where if I'm just going for a little rough patch, I'm just like, I'm just not going to post anything. I'll come back and just say, oh, sorry guys, I've had a bit of a rough patch and whatever, and then just carry on posting like nice stuff maybe away from the track. But yeah, and to be honest, I try and make sure that Instagram's just not a big priority, but it's like there, but school, family, friends, health, like just life enjoyment in general, like way above social media. Like, there's so much more things to life than just social media. So it's just a small aspect of my life. Like, I don't want it to take over. I don't want to be one of those people that's just like, my life is social media. Like, there is so much more to life than just that.
Absolutely. It's so easy to get wrapped up in it though, and especially, I mean, you can look at screen time, and sometimes I'm like, oh my god,
my TikTok screen time gets bad sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's one good thing, I think, having the screen time to just snap you out of it and be like, wait, this is crazy, close the app. It is important, but especially with our generation, like, everyone's on it, and if you're off it, you miss things. So it's finding that balance, I suppose.
It definitely is. I mean, especially being at school, training, and then like advocacy work and stuff, like, it is quite hard to manage sometimes. But in a way, I kind of use my phone as a bit of downtime. Like, that's my kind of quiet time in my room under the covers, just doom scrolling.
Little
like
gremlin
an hour.
under the
little
duvet.
gremlin, just doom scrolling for like an hour, 2 hours or something. But that's, I think having screen time, like, and being on your phone is like fine, but you just gotta have it in balance, like with everything, to be honest.
Moderation, everything in moderation, even moderation.
Yeah.
Well, I'm dropping some really terrible lines today.
They're wise words.
Clearly heard some quotes that I'm like pulling out of nowhere. I don't know where they're coming from. My final question, we were talking about girls stopping sport and how terrible that is. And I just wanted to ask you if there was anything you would say to a girl who maybe had dropped out of sport, feeling pretty low about it, just doesn't want to move. What advice would you give to try and say, look, get back into it?
I think, like, just do it for yourself. Like, if anything's going to motivate you, just do it purely because you want to and you just want to make yourself feel good. I think that the best reason to do stuff is because, like, you want to do it. Like, I know it sounds selfish, but for those kind of things, it's like you move because you want to move, not because someone's, like, just telling you or whatever, but because you actually want to do it. And I think that it's important to find something that you enjoy. Like, it doesn't have to be going for a run, because that can be quite, like, hard and tough, especially if you've been out of sports for a while or out of physical activity. Like, maybe you can find, like, I know there's some really cool, like, water, like, aqua aerobic stuff. Like, my mum loves it. Like, I know, like, it's stereotypical for, like, older women to do it, but I tried it once and it's actually really good fun. Like, actual, like, proper, like almost like dance rave music, and you're just in the pool just, like, splashing about and stuff, but it's still physical activity. Like, you're still moving. Like, you've got to try and find ways to really enjoy physical activity. So just doing those sort of things, like, doesn't have to be doing a legitimate sport. Like, just doing those sort of things, or doing a bit of yoga, or just going for, like, a hot girl walk with your friend or whatever. Like, that's moving. That's still getting your exercise in.
Absolutely. I went to a spin class last week. Dark room, neon lights. It was like a club.
Yeah,
it was
so
the
cool.
funnest thing in the world. I was like, I didn't even think I was moving, and I came out, like, dripping with sweat.
Yeah, literally. They're so good. They're so underrated.
Yeah, there's so much out there. Thank you so much, Izzy. It's been an absolute pleasure. I hope you've enjoyed it.
I have.
I feel like we've covered a lot.
Yeah, I feel like we've talked a lot. We've talked about a lot of different stuff.
About everything.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. And guys, if you do want to check out The Mix, then themix.org.uk is the place to go. We also have social media as well. So we'd love to have you over on our socials. And remember, anything you're dealing with, you don't have to do it on your own. We're always here.